Perfect. All right, let's rock and roll. Again, welcome to the Generational Wealth Community Call, where we focus on the 6 keys to wealth: spiritual, mental, physical, emotional, financial, and social health, wealth, if you will, and just focus on those key areas and constantly growing and focused on becoming the best versions of ourselves. Just want to talk about a couple of things on tonight. A lot of times in life, we find ourselves trying to figure out, what do we want to do? Where do we want to go? What should we be focused on? And I think the main thing that I want people to always keep in the forefront of their mind is to keep focusing on yourself and always pursue your curiosity. The one thing that I speak about a ton is about belief and believing yourself and knowing who you are. This is a Bible-based, spiritual-based type of call as well. So we like to focus on positive development mindset in spiritual development. And I put a key factor, I focus a lot on belief, because if you can understand and master belief, you can do anything. If you can really understand how to think, you can do anything. And if you remove any negative notions or any negative mentality about your identity and how you can operate and what you can achieve, you can do anything, right? And so the first thing I want you guys to understand is to understand, how do you believe, right? What is your level of belief on tonight? When you are pursuing, if God gives you a vision, or you have that some type of vision that comes to mind, your imagination, your desires, things begin to kick off, and you may come across something that interests you. What is your level of execution, and how much do you believe that you can get it done? A lot of people are not where they want in life, mostly because they're just lazy. But if you can understand the power of belief, I believe the power of belief eliminates anything when it comes to procrastination, laziness, and nothing like that, all those things like that, because you understand that what you have desired for yourself, what you are imagining, you're not thinking towards something, you're thinking from something. Somebody dropped "from" in the chat box. I'm gonna break that down a little bit more. When you are given a vision, you have to understand, you want to grow a conscious awareness, like, okay, I got this goal, I got this desire. I don't want you think about your goals, guys. You guys are gifted. There's something that's burning inside of you. There's something that you haven't discovered, maybe because of hesitation and fear and doubt and limiting thoughts. Maybe those things are overriding right now, but I promise you, if you can tap into your source, you have the ability to get anything that you want in this life, because we were made in God's image. All right. God has the power to create. That means you, to some capacity, have the power to create. Right. And you have to appreciate your higher mental faculties. People don't think about imagination enough. Like, imagination is so powerful, because it's this tool, this resource in your mind that literally says, this is what I want. And I know I want it because this is what I see with my eyes closed. Right? You can think of the colors, the texture, the height, the smell. You can literally have a experience in your mind, right? You guys have been there before, whether you created experience. Maybe sometimes people have negative experiences that they think about, but the key is you can kick off experiences with your eyes closed or not. It doesn't matter. And you can put yourself there. But what you got to learn to do, ladies and gentlemen, is stay there. All right. So once you open your eyes, you can't let what you see in your reality affect what you believe in your mind, believe in your heart. Right. So for instance, let's just play pretend. Right. Let's all play pretend. Growing up, me and my sister and brother used to play church. Right. What are some things you guys used to play pretend doing as you were growing up? You cannot lose that gift, that ability. You got to live on that. Right. So let's pretend that we all are, I don't know, firefighters. I'm just gonna pick something basic, right? Well, when you think about a firefighter, you got to pull that perception from something. We know that the equipment is going to be heavy. We're going to have a helmet on. We're going to have boots on. We could go ahead and feel and get a perspective of what that's going to look like, right? And then you begin to think about, because we're courageous and we're fearless, we don't think in a manner of that was something that we can't do. Well, this is something that we desire, something we're excited about. So all we do is daydream about being firefighters. All right, this is pretend, right? So just replace that with something that you actually want. Don't think that you're headed towards being your goal. You got to live from your goal. God made us in His image. That means you have to gain your God consciousness. You have to gain that awareness that you can create. You speak, you act, you move, your faith, your works, you think from it. So what if you were living in that moment today? What does living from it today look like? And you stay living from it. I don't care if you want to, let's say you want a 4,000 square foot house and you live in an 800 square foot house, where you can't allow your senses, what you see today, you have to allow your imagination to talk to your subconscious mind. You can also put images and pictures up around the house if need, but the conversation, your subconscious mind don't know the difference between you living through in 4,000 square foot or 800. It's what you tell yourself, by the way. All right. So when we talk about, somebody can come to my house and walk in the door right now, say, hey, welcome to my mansion. There's going to be a version of a person who walks in, they're going to say, girl, what you talking about? And then there's going to be my best friend dog who's going to walk in. She'll be like, dog, I love your mansion. Oh, these walls are beautiful. They're going to participate in my story. They're going to participate in where I'm living from. We do it all the time. So you got to learn today to participate from your imagination today, ladies and gentlemen. Why? Because you have the power to create. And the biggest part, the most amazing part about it is not only the part of creation, but understand that you are a part of a plan that happened years and years ago. In the beginning, everything was already created. Think about that. The resources, y'all got to think about that. It's so amazing that all of the technology, all of the construction, all of the architect, all of the clothing, all of the engineering, everything that is being created today that is not created today. Everything that's being discovered today was created in the beginning. Okay, let me say it again. The resources to build this hat was already here before all of us were born. But it took the human mind curiosities to discover how to do it. All right. The technology for Zoom, right? It's been here. Even if they didn't figure it out 1,000 years ago, it was already here, y'all. But what happened? We evolved, we became more educated, and we discovered how to do it. So you can't be a person walking around in limiting thoughts and disbeliefs that you can't have what it is that you desire. It's faith, works, and discipline, right? It's just consistency. All right. Are y'all following me? Yes or no in the chat box? All right. All of the elements, all of the resources, heat, iron, copper, right? Water, all of these resources, all of these elements have been here, but we hadn't had the level of awareness to develop it, to discover it. All right. So that's what I want you to understand on tonight. Whatever desires you hold in your heart, whatever desires you hold in your imagination, it was here when God opened his mouth. Let there be light, right? Let there be was already here. But now you got to gain the level of belief and awareness and use your power of imagination to operate from that space on today. You got to use your higher mental faculties. Your higher mental faculties is your intuition. That's your ability to understand something immediately. It's this, y'all that feeling that you get. All right. Intuition is without the need for a conscious reasoning. Okay. It's not necessarily a conversation which you have with yourself, but it's just this ability to immediately understand something. It's a feeling that you get. It's a discernment. All right. And then you have your imagination, what I put emphasis on tonight, where your imagination is the action of forming ideas. All right. Images and concepts of external objects, this is so good, of external objects not present to your senses. I'm going to say it again. The definition of imagination is the faculty or the action, okay, of forming ideas and concepts and images in your mind it's images of something external, something on the physical plane that's not present to your physical senses. That's not present to your senses. All right, we just did it. Let's play pretend. Y'all drop in the chat box. What's something that you would like to do, achieve, or be, or have? Drop that in the chat box. What's something that you would like to have? What is something that you would like to be? What is something that you would like to do? What is something that you would like to achieve? Like, what is that in the chat box? It could be something very, very simple, or it could be a big, huge goal. My big, huge goal, we got own a home. All right, cool. So we got own a home. We got travel the world. All right. So now the next question, you have to retire myself. There we go. Keep it coming. Right. So the next question is, as we know, now we know these things. When was the last time you sat still, quiet in stillness, and went there in your mind? All right. Literally close your eyes, because if you really think about it, guys, there we go today. All right. So we go there in our mind. Now the thing is, how have you put your environment into your imagination? Have you had conversations with people around you to say, hey, When you see me, say congratulations on your new home. You can't just, you got to get so, think of it as role playing, but it ain't role playing. You're going to be there today. You know what I'm saying? Take that same amount of energy we would do in role playing, but take that role playing and literally and be intentional about it, right? So now I can say, every time I hop on the call, Sasha, I see your name, I say, hey, Sasha, congratulations on your new home, right? Where is it located? What's the square footage? Is it hardwood floors? Is it, I don't even know, the color of my cabinets is like, I don't even know the color of these cabinets, like blue, black, I don't know, mate, grayish black, I don't know, gold handles, all right? I got a soft touch seat, like I have all these things, right? So what do you have in your house? Okay, you gotta know. I know that, y'all. Oh my goodness, let me tell y'all something happened to me last week. I had a dream that I was living in this home. It was so real. When I woke up, I was like, I have never seen a house like that built ever in my life. I actually tried to sketch it out and I typed out what it looked like in the dream. And I now know what my dream home gonna look like, right? I don't even know how I haven't seen a house built like that ever. But the pool was in the middle of the house, but it was still outside. It was so crazy. So it had double-sided entrance. You walk in up around a glass wall because the wall was filled with water. Then over the wall was like this waterfall jacuzzi, which also had like this slanted pool, beach field looking house with an open ceiling, no ceiling, no nothing like that. It was just outside in the house. It was weird, right? So it was so dope. And so I sketched it out. But when I was living in that moment, I was so present in that moment, I can still hold on to the characteristics and the color and the design and the architect of that dream, that I can now just literally go there again because I remember what it felt like. I remember that experience. And so now when I look at my home now, all I see is a double-sided entrance. People don't have to, what you have to understand as well as guys, is people don't have to believe in your vision. You don't have to worry about nobody else saying, well, that sounds crazy, because you have to have the conscious awareness. You have to have the firm awareness and belief that, first of all, if somebody ever says that, that just shows their level of ignorance. Why? Because I'm made in God's image. God gave me the ability to create. In the beginning, God said, that means everything that I desire has already been created. So if somebody says that is crazy, that doesn't sound real, that's not realistic, then you should just say, well, in the beginning. Or you don't speak to them at all because they don't have their awareness is not there yet. They don't understand why you are living in your imagination, right? So you form those ideas and images and concepts in your mind, and you don't even have to physically be able to touch them yet. As long as it's here, guess what? Guess what God is doing? He's cooking. He's all right. He said, Sasha, want this house. Okay. Well, they haven't even made that color yet. So what's going to happen is I'm going to teach Day how Day is driven about colors and designs. He's a scientist. So the Day creates this new color. He gives it a name called Sash, right? And then next thing you know, Sash goes and buys her house, and they say, hey, by the way, we got this new color that was developed. Why? Because he was cooking. He was developing your desire. You guys have to understand is that when the scientists made the color that didn't exist, that wasn't discovered yet, but it still existed. You see what I'm saying? He just had to create a new batch. He had to create a new mixture of colors. The resources were already here, but Sasha had to think about the design first, so God could send Day to aid her in her desire. Please tell me y'all following me, because this is so good. Please tell me, follow me. Desire it, think from it, live from it. So you cannot listen, never only expect that what it is that you want is already complete, because it is. Because in the beginning, what's the only thing? God has to put people in action of discovery for your things to manifest. All right. Somebody could create a new idea today, but that idea technically pre-existed. They just had to have a new level of awareness to discover it. Guys, back in the dinosaur age, they could have had cell phones and Wi-Fi, but they didn't have the awareness to discover it, right? Fire and cooking and stoves and cars. All this stuff is just an evolution of everybody gaining what? New discoveries, new awareness. It already existed. They could have had a Tesla, 2,000 years ago. But why not? Because they had to keep discovering it. And we still can't keep discovering things. Airplanes couldn't fly. There was no such thing as airplanes at one time, right? But the Wright brothers had an idea. They had an objective. They had imagination. Disney had imagination. Chick-fil-A had imagination, right? Imagination. Everything you touch is something from the imagination. So that's what's so beautiful. You don't even, God is so amazing because if you just open your eyes, you can see the external objects that manifested from the imagination. And if you close your eyes or you just live in your imagination, you can still see the objects being created, waiting to be discovered. All right. So that's the power of your mental, your faculty. So again, when you just, that house you want, the world traveling that you want, well, where are you going? What's the first destination? How long is the flight? What seat are you sitting in on? What type of ticket do you have? Which airline are you on? What class are you sitting in? What days are you there? How long are you there? What's the weather like? What activities are you doing? Y'all see what I'm saying? You got to be so specific in what it is that you want. I told my friend the other day, I'm a day trader for those of you who don't know, and I'm an educator as well. And when God gave me the vision, he had already dripped on me. My best friend had been telling me, you should build your own school. You should build your own school. And I didn't believe in it yet. I just wasn't there. But as I began to develop and God gave, God was like, listen, she don't told you what you need to do. This is what I need you to do. So when I finally received it, when I finally accepted, okay, you know what? God has given me something. Let me do it. Okay. Well, when I thought about it, I was just like, okay, what is this going to look like? How do I want this to look? So I started Googling stuff. I started looking at things. My mentor reached out, my old mentor reached out about a course that she was building. I saw her course and I was like, that's how I want my course built. Right? Guys, I was seeking how I wanted it to even look like. And he sent somebody along the way to give me what I was desiring. I didn't even know what I wanted it to look like. I was trying to go there. I wanted to keep the end in mind. But I said, God, well, what is a course supposed to look like? He sent the perfect person for me. Boom. Took her course, saw the course. I'm like, this is how I want my course to look like. Now, I only see my course as being complete. I started in the physical plane. I started building it on February 7th of 2022. But guess what, y'all? Guess what, Ashley? Guess what, Sasha? It was completed the minute I had the thought. When I finally had the complete image in my mind, it was done that day, right? Y'all following me? So now what's only been taking place is God has been sending the resources and the people and the experiences and the trials and the errors to aid me in that final image that I have in my mind. All right. So the image is, listen, I already know what it looks like. I know everything about it. Now I'm just getting the resources as they come towards me to keep building it out brick by brick, right? That's your imagination. Your next faculty is reason, the action of thinking about something in a logical way, in a sensible way, right? Reasoning is when you now have awareness of certain things in your life and you start making decisions and you weigh the pros and cons of those decisions. That's what your reasoning does, all right? So your experiences that you have been through in life, you get to say, well, you know what? Do I really want to travel with this airline or do I want to travel with this airline? Your reasoning starts to kick in. All right. You can weigh your options. Okay. The next one is your perception. Your perception is your ability to see, to hear, and become aware of something through your senses. Okay. Your perception is built through your senses. All right. It's a way of understanding something. It's the mental impression. So what is my perception of wealth? My perception is that wealth is infinite. It's abundant. I told my sister the other day, I said, I cannot stand when people say the word expensive. Do you know the definition of expensive is something that costs too much? And I said, oh, that irritates me. That rubs me. It's like a pet peeve. Why? Because guess what, y'all? In the beginning, God created. In the beginning, I serve an abundant God. I serve a God who's infinite. So me believing that something is expensive contradicts my faith. It contradicts my perception of what I believe is to be true. What I believe is to be true is that I can get anything that I desire if it's in my imagination, right? It's in my imagination. God has created it. All I have to do is believe and get to work. It's that simple. So your perception is based off of your senses. So what do I do to enhance my perception of wealth? Well, I take care of myself. I read books. I look at information. I get around people. Oh, perception is so good. Perception is so good. You have to get yourself around the right experiences. So let's say it's the house. Let's say if I want a better perception of a house, I drive down Mount Perrin, which is down the street from me, or Powell's Ferry, and I look at these houses. I look at the architect. It's not because they $1 million homes, but it puts me in a better. It gives me a variety of options. It expands my thinking. It expands what I'm exposed to. Because if I drive down Bankhead, if you from Atlanta, Georgia, you understand Bankhead, you ain't driving down Bankhead to get no perception. If you want to see perception, the perception you're going to get is poverty and oppression, right? But if I say, okay, my imagination, my home, I want my home to feel safe. I want my home to be safe. I want my home to have this amount of square footage. I want my home to have these type of neighbors. Well, let me go find where these people stay. Let me drive down the road real slow and have this experience. Because as I sit here and say, well, this is my new address, I'm expanding my senses. I'm putting myself in this emotional sensory experience. And now it's expanding my perception, right? If I only ever see, you limit what you can see by limiting what you see. It's that simple. You limit what you can see here by limiting what you see in other places. You got to go experience other things. All right. Your senses are so powerful. Your senses are so unique because they serve as a stimulation. Okay. Your sight, your smell, your hearing, your tasting, your touch. Imagine what it feels like. That's why when you go to well, I don't do it no more, but back in the day when they go to the mall, they used to have like taste testers out there. Or if you go to different shopping plazas, they have the clothing and the furniture on display. They have the shoes on display. They have the jewelry on display. They're trying to stimulate what you see. They're trying to stimulate what you can smell with food and perfume. They're trying to stimulate your taste with food. They're trying to stimulate with touch. Driving in the car. When the last time y'all test drove a new car? Right? Just smell it. Ooh, man, smell good up in here. All right. When's the last night or night before last? I spent time on the website looking at some new clothes. I said, I don't really shop a lot. I'm really just laid back. I'm like Mark Zuckerberg when it comes to clothes. But I said, you know what? But then I thought about, what? There is a version of me when I get this hair done and I get some new clothes on. I feel good. Anybody been there before? Yes or no? In the chat box, you get the hair done. Right? You get the hair done, or you get the haircuts, you get your nails manicured, you get your brows wet, you put them lashes on, whatever it is that you're doing, right? Get the perfume on, you put that new outfit on, you just go up the street just because you want to put that new outfit on, new shoes, you got the legs waxed, whatever it is that you're doing. And especially if you don't drop weight, right? Because I'm overweight right now. But if you drop that weight too, listen, I look good, I smell good, I feel good. That's what James Brown said. So, but that experience did something. It boosted your confidence. It shifted your desires. It fed you. It stimulated you. Then, let alone you go and have a great experience. Maybe you go do a day experience at a rooftop hotels or something like that. You go have food with family, or you just go do something to stimulate your desires. I could go play dress up and just go sit down in a Ritz-Carlton and have a glass of water. Guess how that's gonna make me feel? Because the thing is, even if you don't, the thing is, I am not afraid to desire the most out of life because I know the most out of life is God working on my behalf, and only God is going to get the glory. Some people can say, well, I want to live in the Ritz-Carlton. I want to stay at the Ritz-Carlton. You ain't thinking right. It's not about what you want. It's about what you need to expand your thinking, to expand your senses, and most of all, to attract more for your life so you can do more for other people. Stop thinking it's about you. When I'm going to the Ritz is a level of attraction for me because I desire wealth in my life. So let me get around people with a wealthy vibration. Maybe I can bump and have a conversation with somebody while I'm sipping on my water and they sipping on their bottle, right? Well, it doesn't matter. The point is the experience of getting inside the right atmosphere and the right vibrations. Because then when you go back home, something has changed. If you go walk around some new houses, massage. If you go walk around some new, if you just go down to the airport, Ashley, just drive down the airport. Look at me in the sky. In Atlanta, we have what is it? A cell phone lot. Ain't nobody says you got to go buy the ticket today, but in Atlanta, you can go sit in a cell phone lot and watch plane after plane after plane drive by, fly by. Right? That's putting yourself close to experience. Right? Get online and start pretending to buy flights. See what it does to you when you say, man, I want to buy this flight. Act like you about to check out and see what it does to you, because you're like, you know what? Even if it's not physically in your budget yet, just do it, because it's gonna either piss you off or drive you, but either way, you're gonna want to go push towards it. You know what I'm saying? So what happens is when we use our senses, when we use our sight, guys, what are you seeing around you? When you use your smell, what are you smelling? Hearing, taste, and touch. The more and more and more I put myself in nukes, I'm telling y'all, my taste has changed so much. Stuff I used to think was good, I'm like, oh, that is not good no more. Ugh, how did I even think that was good? What's starting to happen? I'm starting to try new things and better quality of life, better experiences, spending more time with nature, just doing more healthier things. I'm just like, ugh, how was I even doing that before? It just didn't make sense. It didn't make sense to me no more, right? Because even if it's not in your budget physically yet, it's in your budget mentally. It's in that imagination budget. Y'all with me? High five in the chat box. We got an imagination budget. We flying Delta One. Where we going, Ashley? All right. We flying Delta One, or we flying the Emirates. All right. First class. It ain't even first, one above first class. Delta One, I know, for Delta One is above first class, right? Where we going? All right. So we look good, we feel good. Once a week, y'all. Just and then I told my friends tonight, I said, I gotta find me some friends who don't mind living in their imagination with me. Because I can do it alone. I've been doing it alone. But who's ready I don't want to keep doing, I want to have experiences with y'all. So hey, Al, what do you want to experience? You want to be the best fitness instructor? All right, well, who's the best in Atlanta? Let's go drive up on the lot. All right. Who's getting the most clients? What do they building look like? How do they speak? How do they operate? How do they market? Get around the energy, get close. You got to be like the lady in the Bible who touched the hem of God's garment, the hem of Jesus' garment. That's how you have to be in your imagination. Get to the hem of it, touch it, reach for it, stretch for it. Doesn't matter what you've been going through your life. It doesn't matter about your pain and suffering and depression and grief. Those things are what we're going to go through and we're going to grow through, but you don't dare not touch the hem. Somebody drop him in the chat box. Your imagination. Oh, this is good. You know, I'll be one to go too deep sometimes, but you have to understand that your consciousness is spiritual. The desires that you have in your heart is just God trying to move through you, right? Jesus is working through you, right? So when you think about these things, think about you being in some degree, and metaphorically speaking, that you are Jesus, right? Metaphorically, but metaphorically speaking, that I am Jesus. Jesus is out here just want to give love, or just mirror his actions rather. I want to give love. I want to help people. I want to serve people. I can create. I can do all these things. But ultimately, I'm just a lady with the issue of blood. I want to touch the hem. Right? I just want to touch the hem of your garment. Jesus, make me whole. Heal me. Right? Heal me. Make me whole. Make my finances whole. Well, how do you make your finances whole? Be real. Well, first you got to go there. Who do I want my finances to look like? I want my finances to look like Tyler Perry. I want my finances to look like Oprah. Let me go look at who they CPAs are, who they bank with. What are they doing with their income? Let me touch the hem of their imagination. Let me see what they did, right? You got to get there, guys. Study, emulate, get there. And I promise you, in the beginning, God created. So if it's not physically on this plane yet, because somebody hasn't discovered something that you may need towards your goal, I promise you, if you keep that desire strong, if your desire is backed by feeling, if that desire is backed by faith and action, guess what God gonna do? Hey, Daddy, let me plant this seed in your heart. Let me plant this idea in your heart, because she want this house, right? And she want this house to have a certain type of wood. Well, honestly, the wood ain't even for sale yet, but he done figured out how to go cut the tree down. He created the equipment to cut the tree down so that wood can one day be in her house. Please understand that he's going to aid you regardless. Remember, y'all, you just can't forget this part. Whatever you desire already exists. Whether it has not been discovered yet by us, by man, it doesn't deny you from achieving your desire. Okay? but you have to walk in that complete awareness. You have to walk in that level of expectation. Whatever you desire, in the beginning, God created. It is now up to me to solely live from that moment with the amount of perspective that I do have. But if I hold on to it long enough, if I live through it, I live from it long enough, he will send signals to somebody else that will aid me in achieving what it is that I desire. I hope y'all got that tonight. So hair done, haircut, lashes, all that. Live from what it is that you desire. Whether you desire to travel the world, make a list, print out the images, look up the flights, look up the places you want to stay. You gotta go. You can't let it be light. It can't be watered down. It can't be a vague description of what it is that you want. Because God said he would give you the desires of your heart. So imagine if you came to God with every single detail. This is so good. Imagine if you came to God with every single detail of what it is that you desire from top to bottom. How does that make you feel when you are aware that in the beginning it was created? That when you are aware that through your faith and works it is done, that you are aware that you have the ability to create, that you are aware that he will send the resources and the people and the places and the things to aid you in your desires. When you are aware that you just got to touch the hem. Touch the hem. That lady had so much perseverance. She didn't give up. She was even in her pain and suffering. She stretched out her hand. Even in her pain and suffering, for years, she didn't waver in her faith. Even in her pain and suffering, she found a way in. Even in the midst of what it is that you're going through, you got to still reach for that hem, ladies and gentlemen. And you will be made whole, I promise you. All right, but use your higher faculties, tap into your imaginations, and hold on to that awareness that God supplies all my needs in every single point of space and every single moment of time. There's always a divine surplus. Never thinking lack. There is no such thing as expensive. There is no such thing as too much. Because if you say too much, if you say expensive, if you say, well, that you got enough, then what happens when you sit here and talk about you serve a God who serves all, who does all, who's infinite, who's abundant? You got to choose your side. You see what I'm saying? You can't get you got to be careful of being so apart. Oh, this is good. Oh, okay, here we go. You cannot live from this world. Okay? You got to live from your imagination. You are living in the world, but you can't live from this world. Please tell me y'all catching this. Oh, because you got to be careful, because man thinks in so many limiting ways and so many doubtful ways, and they think with so much hesitation and fear and doubt, that if you get so caught up that your conscious mind lives on this physical plane too much, you begin to pick up their habits. You begin to pick up their ways of thinking. You begin to believe that a big house is a big house. You begin to believe that a house is too big. You begin to believe that $1 million is a lot of money. You begin to believe that being in shape is lame. You begin to believe the cap. Whew. You begin to believe because remember when I went back to perception, your perception is becoming aware of something. It's a mental impression. So if you spend too much time on the worldly plane, their impression will cap what God can do in your life, because you're serving this plane and not his plane. I promise you. So if it's such and such, you come to me and say, hey, I want the 5,000 square foot house. You got to be careful who you speaking to. You got to be careful that you got to be careful that you're not speaking to somebody who thinks limiting thoughts. You sharing your imagination with somebody. Say, girl, you don't need a house that big. Ooh. Oh, you must not serve this abundant God that I serve. We can't be serving the same God. Look what he did for Solomon and David. We can't be serving the same God. All right. I only share my goals and dreams with people who live on a spiritual plane, by the way. I had to tell my sister that last night. I said, I am aware who deserves my time, who deserves my space. You got to earn to be in my space. I got to protect this space, because I don't live on that plane that you live on. I live on a spiritual plane. All right. My maintenance person comes in my house and say, so it sounds all over the house and says, I'm so happy and grateful now that I'm a millionaire. I no longer think of heading towards being a millionaire. That left me a while ago. I think from being a millionaire now. So she walked in, she's like, "Oh, you a millionaire?" I was like, "Yeah." This is what y'all got to be careful about. I'm trying to close this call because when somebody reads, "I am so happy and grateful now that I'm a millionaire," that seems so far away for them because they thinking towards a million, not thinking from a million. So I can't allow you in my space for too long because you think you headed towards being a millionaire instead of living from being a millionaire. Because I live here as a millionaire. Guess what's happening through my face, my works, my awareness that I'm being attracted to and I'm gaining access to. It's headed my way. It's a magnet. It's a magnet. So you got to be careful when what you share with people. If they're not living from their imagination, if they're not living from their spiritual plane, if they're not aware of that in the beginning, if they're not aware that their faith and works, if they're not aware that they are made in his image, if they are not aware that they have the power to create, if they are not aware, then they do not dare have a conversation with me about my imagination. Because they're not here yet. They're not up here yet. They ain't living in the clouds, right? Everything that you see with your eyes was somebody's imagination. The ink, the hats, the hairstyles, the bottle caps, the wrapping on the burgers, the wrapping on the paper, on the fries, the light bulbs, the light switches, the forks, the spoons, the door handles, the spatulas, the soap. It was from the power of imagination first. So don't ever think that you're not capable. When you see people who are thriving, when you see people who are flourishing, when you see people out here getting every single thing that they desire, don't ever think from a competitive, complaining standpoint. Just say in the beginning. And you laugh and you smile and say, "God, thank you for exposing me to somebody that is living from the power of imagination so I know how to operate according to your will. Thank you for there's gonna be people out here who are blessed, who are evil and ignorant as all get out, but I promise you they don't have a peace of mind. I promise you there's something that's going on or something that's headed their way. So don't ever compare or envy or be jealous of anybody that you feel like, well, why they getting all this money and why they being so blessed because they do this. And I've seen them do wrong for people. That's not your business. Your only business is you and how you treat people and the imagination that you live from. So you stay on top of your imagination and you go there in your mind. You got to do it two ways. Remember that you live from your imagination and you go do it. You do things to stimulate your senses to help enhance your perception of your imagination. Okay. So we live from our imagination, but we also go do physical things that can stimulate our imagination. Taste, touch, smell, see, and hear. Okay. Ashley, you need to be listening to the ocean waves. You need to be listening to planes taking off. You need to be looking at airline tickets. You need to tell somebody, "Hey, when you come back from that trip, give me them tickets." All right. You need to have that passport front and center. You need to have images around your entire house, enjoy your entire workspace, your car, your cell phone, or where you're going when you get there from the spiritual to the physical, because you're already there in your mind. Okay. So you need to make sure you have that house written down. Where is it located? The square footage, number of rooms. We're going to walking up some steps or we're coming up an elevator. We got a driveway or we riding down a long driveway with a horse and carriage. Is it going over a creek? How many acres of land is it? What kind of trees you got on the land? What type of windows? What type of backsplash? What type of countertops? What type of wood? What's the paint on the wall? You see what I'm saying? How is God going to give you a vague desire? That's why you don't have what you won't get. Because you're thinking too vague and you still believe you're thinking towards something. You have to live from it. Put "from it" in the chat box. From it, from it, from it. From it. Live from it. You're not headed towards something. You're living from it. Live from it. Feel from it. It has to be backed by feeling, by the way. From it, from it, from it. Right? From it. It has to be backed by real feelings, though. You can't. Last thing, you cannot imagine something in your mind and contradict in your heart. You can't have a two-way prayer. When I tell somebody that I'm a millionaire, I don't say that. That ain't from play. That ain't for play. Well, I see your trading account. It don't say a millionaire. They got six figures, but no, it say a million. I don't know what you seeing, but in the beginning, it's all I got for you. In the beginning is all I got for you. That's all I got. And if you, I can't teach you that. I can't make you understand that right now. I'm too. You can't listen. Get out my imagination right now. All right. Here's a book. Get on this call, and I see you when I see you there. Don't spend so much time trying to convince somebody to believe, y'all. They got to grow on their own. They got to get those experiences on their own. They got to touch the hem on their own. That stuff they got to go through. But don't allow somebody to disrupt where God is taking you. I mean, don't allow somebody to disrupt where you're living from. Okay? But you cannot contradict. You cannot have a contradictive desire. Okay? So that house, that travel, whatever it is that you desire in the chat box, whatever it is that you desire, desire is from the heart. It's backed by feeling. If you want something and you are unsure, you are unaware of what I just said tonight. That's the only way something's still a want. It's the only way you believe you can't get something, right? You are unaware of your power. You are unaware that you're made in his image. You are unaware of the in the beginning. You are unaware of your faith and your works. You're unaware of your ability to create. You are unaware that you can just live from it. You are unaware that every single thing that you see with your eyes came from the power of imagination. You are unaware. So while you are unaware, all right, I'm going to be living from there. All right, I got a new address. Anybody got a new address in here on tonight? New addresses. All right, I live from it. Okay. I already know the hashtag tonight. The hashtag tonight is from there. Okay. Live from there. Live from there. You have to be aware of your God consciousness. You have to be aware that you do not need to focus on living so much on the physical, on the worldly plane. When I say worldly plane, I'm thinking from a space of doubt. Okay. I'm talking from a space of doubt. You can't be so convinced that expensive is a real thing. Because y'all got to understand this. Just because humans have put certain things in place, it doesn't mean it has to be a part of your world. People now know not to say the word expensive around me. All right. They know, don't let that come out your mouth, because that's contradictive. I serve an abundant God who serves and supplies all my needs, but then you say something costs too much. I don't know how to operate like that. Right. So you have the power to nurture your environment. You have the power to nurture your imagination. You have the power to mold what comes and goes inside your eyes, your ears, what you see and what you hear. Right? Protect that. Protect what you see. Protect what you smell. Protect what you taste. Protect what you hear. Protect what you touch. Expose it to the right elements that will enhance and stimulate your imagination. Because whatever is added to your imagination is added to your desire, is added to God doing what he wants to do on your behalf. Oh, that's so good. Protect it, enhance it. It'll be added unto you. That's what he said. It'll be added unto you. Come on, be real, right? So let's get it. I love y'all. It's an amazing call tonight. Think from it. Think from it. Don't think towards it. Think from it. And feel it. Backed by feeling. I'm telling you, if you can master that, you don't even know how to doubt no more. You don't even know what doubt is. Doubting and disbelief and fear and limiting thoughts that you cannot achieve your goals is man's thinking. But if you understand that you have God's thinking inside you, then you can override what has been dominating the TV and the radio and the news. You can override that and curate. That's the word I was looking for. You can curate your own environment, your own word, your own experiences. All right. So just because the new album came out don't mean I got to listen to that certain type of album. If I know that album is not going to add value to my life, then what do? I go listen to something that's going to add value. You have to be protective, selective. All right. What am I going to do tomorrow? I might pull up. Let me go down Mount Perry and let me see these houses. Let me go to this side of town. They're doing some new construction over there. Let me just sit there and watch them build this house. That's mine, right? Let me get into the experience, stimulate my imagination, which enhances my perception of what I desire, which also adds to my desires. And God also gives me the desires of my heart, and it be added unto me. All right. I love y'all. That concludes the call. I hope y'all got some value on tonight. No problem, Saj. Amazing call. Thank you for real. Absolutely. Absolutely. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Thank you so much for being on the call. I'm glad we can have our family and our community here where we can just keep growing together, because guess what? How many people on the planet right now having a call about living from their desires? You see what I'm saying? This is an uncommon atmosphere. Curate. You got, ooh, that's good. This is this is an uncommon atmosphere. This is an uncommon plane, spiritual plane. Listen, go get what you want. Think from it. Listen from it, from it. Okay? I love y'all. Y'all can drop in the Generational Wealth community chat what your biggest takeaway is as well. You can give some value to our other subscribers in there. I know you probably can't see me right quick. I want to drop the link. Oh, y'all done jumped ahead of me tonight. I see y'all. Y'all done jumped ahead. Y'all, how to where you asked about to the chat? Okay, there we go. Share link, copy link. All right, so if you're on the Zoom call, I'm going to drop our Telegram chat inside the Zoom chat box right now. There you go. That's our Telegram chat for Generational Wealth community. And I can't wait to expand for real. Like we keep it going, but we gonna have some more folks on this call that's gonna learn to live from it. That's gonna grow their awareness, because guess what? When they enhance their awareness, guys, and they can answer the calling that God has on their life, the desire or some type of invention or something they're supposed to do and go create, man, it may be something that's created for us that's to aid in our own desires, right? So we keep paying it forward, helping other people to see who they really are. Who are they? They're made in God's image, power to create, live from their imagination. In the beginning, everything was already created. You just have to develop yourself to discover the power to create. Come on, be real. The power to create. Let's get it. I love y'all. Live from it. Have a beautiful night. See y'all next week. Let's get it. Let's get it. Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it.